July 27th will, of course, be a very, very interesting night of MMA, as it will be UFC 304 Leon Edwards versus Bilal Muhammad 2. That's right, it will be the rematch. And of course, in the co-main event is another very weird one. Tom Aspinall will be defending his interim heavyweight championship against Curtis Blaydes in their, well, rematch. And of course, before that one, they have Bobby Green, who has now, I would assume, legally changed his name to King Green, taking on Paddy the Baddy Pimblett. And unfortunately, Muhammad Mokaev and Manel Cape probably is never going to happen, considering that they're just for some reason not on the card anymore. I don't know why, but they're not. Anyways, the first fight is, of course, Bobby Green versus Paddy Pimblett. Of course, Paddy the Baddy Pimblett is 21-3 with 6 wins by way of knockout, 9 submissions, and 6 decisions. Obviously, more of a stoppage artist, but a very well-rounded fighter. He only has 3 losses, 1 by submission and 2 by decisions. His 1 submission loss is back all the way in 2013. So, and his last loss was back in 2018. Undefeated in the UFC, though, so very nice. Of course, he'll be taking on his first ranked fighter, being ranked number 15, Bobby the King Green, or the King of Bobby Green, who is 32-15 with 11 wins by way of knockout, 9 submissions, and 12 decisions, and 1 draw. Very nice. 15 losses, 5 by knockout, 2 by submission, and 8 by decisions. Not as good. And 1 no contest. Not to mention, I just realized, this is just America versus England. Bobby is from America, Pimblett's from England, Tom Aspinall's from England, Curtis Blaydes from America, Bilal's from America, and Leon's from England. What the hell? It's just England versus the US. Anywho, enough dilly-dallying. This will be a very weird one because Paddy Pimblett, everyone knows. His last fight was against a beyond washed Tony Ferguson, as everyone would know. And before that was a fight where everyone thought he should have lost, that being Jared Gordon. So yeah, he'll be facing a somewhat better fighter in Bobby Green, as he is coming off of a unanimous decision win against Jim Miller in UFC 300. Very nice. But before that, he got knocked out very bad against Jalen Turner. It wouldn't have been as bad if, the ref stepped in, but it's good to see it didn't really break his spirit. So we're in for a good fight. But he is 37 with 49 fights. So obviously he is a very aged fighter. He's very worn out, if that makes any sense. He is old. He's an old 37-year-old. That's what I'm trying to say. Paddy Pimblett is only 29, which, me personally, I thought he was younger, considering people are going to say he's the future. He's already 29. He's supposed to be already here. He's not even ranked. But anywho, when he beats Bobby Green, he will be ranked. That's right. He's going to beat Bobby Green. I get it. He's the better striker than Jared Gordon and all that stuff, but I don't know. It's going to be one of those fights where someone who did not look that impressive in his last few fights finally looks, well, impressive by beating Bobby Green 2-1. This time it will be a well-deserved 2-1. Very easy to score 2-1. I think Green will make it interesting somewhere in the fight, but not enough to secure himself the victory. Once again, Bobby Green is 37 with a bit of fights under his belt. So obviously, safe to assume it might be the end of the road for him. But anywho, Paddy Pimblett by unanimous decision 2-1. Not to mention he's also like very well-rounded compared to Green. Don't get me wrong, Green has it. Green has his own, fair shares of submissions. But anywho, the co-main event, the weird one, being Curtis Blaydes, aka a dude with a very, very nice nickname, Curtis the Razor Blade. Very nice. Now, of course, he is 18-4 with 13 wins by way of knockout, 0 submissions, and 5 decisions. Obviously, in the heavyweight division, always has quite a bit of knockouts. And only 4 losses. Unfortunately for him, all 4 losses have come by way of, stoppage. We'll talk about that later, because there's a very, very interesting pattern there. Anywho, Tom Aspinall, the now interim champ, the Honey Badger, is 14-3 with 11 wins by way of knockout and 3 submissions. That's right. None of the opponents he has beaten has ever seen the distance. Unfortunately for him, neither has his losses. None of his losses came by decision. One by KO, one by submission, and one by other. And of course, well, you know where that other comes from, being DQ'd, illegal downward elbow. So yeah, that's something. But anywho, of course, like I said, this is the rematch. And how did that first fight end? Very interesting. Aspinall kicked Curtis, and well, his leg done popped or something. I don't know. He couldn't stand anymore. So yeah, that's something. But anywho, about Curtis Blaydes and his 4 losses. What's so interesting about that? Simple. He only lost like the most powerful punchers in the division at the time. So yeah, everyone knows 2 of his losses. That being, watching a lot of them. They know all his losses. 2 of them came from Francis Ngannou, aka the dude with the highest recorded punch, seen as the most powerful puncher in, well, human existence. He then lost to Derek Lewis, who, well, he himself is one of the, I think he has the most knockouts, or at least up there with the most knockouts, and has insane power as well. He then lost to Sergey Pavlovich, and we all know Pavlovich at that time was seen as a monster. Enormous size and even greater power. Speaking of Pavlovich, that's who Tom Aspinall had to beat for the interim belt. And how fast did he beat him? Very fast in the first round. So yeah, that's safe to assume Aspinall got power himself. Fortunately for Blaydes, he will be facing a very, very quick mobile heavyweight. More mobile than Lewis, more mobile than Pavlovich. Maybe not as much as Ngannou, because Ngannou's huge, man. He's huge, but he moves like he's a light heavyweight. I'm like, what the hell? What the hell are they feeding this guy? So yeah, unfortunately, I like Blaydes. Everyone does. But he's going to get stopped again. He's going up against another humongous power puncher who stopped Pavlovich with 2 clean punches. And he also does some submissions. So, you know, safe to assume Blaydes can't resort for his, I guess, defensive grappling ability. I mean, he can, but it'll be just a matter of time until Aspinall hits him with that clean, straight punch, which sucks. You don't really want to see it happen, but it's going to happen. Tom Aspinall by 3rd round stoppage is not much of a really decision. I mean, don't get me wrong, Blaydes has had a good win in Almeida and some other fights, but for the most part, it's not going to be enough for Aspinall, or at least not going to be enough to defeat Aspinall, so that's something. Chalk went up for the England team, 2-0, unfortunately. But hey, Blaydes can, I don't know, slap him like he did Almeida and stop him like that. You never know. Like seriously, you never know. He slaps him and then Aspinall just crumbles. You never know. So hey, we're rooting for Blaydes. He's most likely going to lose, but who cares? We don't care about wins, do we? No, not me. Okay, a little bit. But besides that, in the main event, another rematch. But this time for the undisputed championship of the world. It will be Leon Edwards defending his welterweight title against Belal Muhammad. Speaking of Belal Muhammad, nickname Remember the Name. Why is that? I don't know. Of course, maybe it's for this moment. He plans on absolutely dominating Edwards to the point where people will have to remember the name. Of course, once again, this is another England versus US fight. He's going to be representing, of course, the entire of the United States and, of course, Palestine. Very nice. But anywho, enough about representation and flags and all that stuff. His wins. 23 wins and 3 losses. 5 wins by way of knockout, 1 submission, and 17 decisions. Very interesting. We'll have to talk about that later. 3 losses, 1 by knockout, and 2 by decisions. Leon Edwards has a very similar record at 22-3, with 7 wins by way of knockout, 3 submissions, and 12 decisions. We'll talk about that later. And 3 losses, 2 by decisions, and 1 by other. Ooh, Leon Edwards. We all know what that other means. We'll have to look at that. That other is disqualification back in 2012 by illegal knee. Edwards, you know you're not supposed to throw that knee. It's literally in the name. Illegal knee. You can't throw that. It's in the name. It's illegal. You can't do that. But anywho, very similar records. Belal has 1 extra win to his name, but Edwards has 2 more knockouts and 2 more submissions to his name, and also 5 less decisions, so that's something. Of course, that's granted considering he has 1 less fight. But anywho, Edwards, after the no contest to Belal Muhammad, which we'll talk about right now, as you see, it's no contest by accidental eye poke. When you look at the replay, I don't know. You could say it was accidental, but the way his hands were placed, I don't know. It didn't seem like it. And for the people wondering how did it look like, you can search it up yourself. Why? It is nasty, nasty. And people were clowning Bilal for crying. And some people are like, did you not see the eye poke? Anyone in their right mind would cry. Who's like the toughest guy you know? That dude would be crying too. Dude thought he couldn't see from his eye. It was that bad. Oh, by the way, Leon Edwards is a notorious cheater too. So yeah, I don't know who the hell's rocking with this guy, Rocky Edwards. But afterwards, he beat Nate Diaz after almost getting stopped in the last round. But we'll take that with a grain of salt. He then beat Kamaru Usman via not lucky head kick, but safe to assume if they were to replay this fight multiple times, probably only one time it will happen. So yeah. Anywho, it didn't matter because in the trilogy, he beat Usman via majority decision, where it was a very close fight, where Edwards was grabbing the fence and all that stuff. So yeah. Anywho, he then came back and beat Colby Covington, where hindsight's 2020. I don't know why I chose that guy. He was coming off of a long layoff, and he was old. So yeah. I have to mention, the Colby Covington fight makes the no contest against Belal Muhammad even funnier, because in the no contest, Leon Edwards, since the opening bell, was trying to knock out Belal Muhammad, and everyone's like, what the hell's wrong with this guy? Why do you want Belal out that fast? Considering that Colby Covington said a bunch of mean things about his unfortunately deceased dad, and he did not do anything close to that with Colby Covington. So why did he try to do that with Belal? What did Belal do? Look at him. He has his shades. Why do you hate him? He looks cool. But anywho, after the no contest to Leon Edwards, he has taken on Demian Mia, or Mia, Wonderboy Thompson, Vicente Luque, Sean Brady, and Gilbert Burns. All pretty good wins. Of course, his last loss was back in 2019 to Jeff Neal. Not to mention he avenged his loss to Vicente Luque. And that was his one stoppage loss. Hey, see? He done avenged it. But anywho, enough dilly-dallying around it. One very important thing is that he's 36. Which many people say, hey, isn't there like a curse going around about like 36-year-old and older, not doing too well in their title fights? Which makes sense, and they especially bring up the Volk fight against Topuria and maybe even the Makhachev fight, rematch anyways, about the whole 35 curse. The difference is he was knocked out both times, one on short notice and the other one against like an undefeated guy that was seen as a monster. So, just saying, those wasn't that bad. Not to mention he was coming off of a knockout loss, pretty bad one in that one as well. So, Belal is coming off of nothing but wins. So, also coming off of not too many wars either. I don't know when was the last time he'd been in a war. But with that being said, both have evolved their game so much since their no contest. Edwards is a lot more accurate, a lot more, like they say, call him a sniper. The difference is, Belal seems to be upping his work rate, which will be bad news for Edwards because Edwards seems to have maybe lowered his work rate. So the super aggressive Leon Edwards we saw in UFC Fight Night 187 will most likely not happen in this championship fight, which will be good news for Muhammad, as I pick him to win unanimous decision, 3-2 and even 4-1. May happen, as he will outwork Leon Edwards on the, maybe not definitely on the feet. All right, let's not say that. Edwards is going to absolutely pick him apart if it stays on the feet. But Muhammad will get in close. I don't get it. People are going to say it's a boring decision. If he wins, it's going to be a boring decision, which will most likely be true. But it is a very interesting one, as who cares? I mean, obviously people will care because it's a boring decision, especially to win a title. But it's a title. It's a title shot. You got to do what you got to do. Unfortunately, for the fans and people watching, it's unfortunate. But for him, it's like, damn, this is my last chance. I'm 36. If I lose, I'm never getting a title shot again. I'm done. Might as well do everything I can. But anywho, Edwards has fought the better opponents after the no contest. Okay, maybe not Nate Diaz. But the Kamaru Usman, he was losing pretty badly. The other one, he cheated. And he almost lost that one. Colby Covington was an old guy who was coming off of a long layoff, so that's something. Muhammad, you could say the same thing. One arm Gilbert Burns, the other one's whatever, right? But yeah, I just see Muhammad outworking Edwards for a decision win, unfortunately, for the fans who will, especially the UK fans. I heard that they're going to do it like at midnight, so it could be prime time for the US, which is going to be crazy for people who are going to be watching this fight. They'll be like, oh, what the hell? But anywho, enough dilly-dallying. I think Paddy Pimblett beats King Green via unanimous decision, well-earned victory, really finally getting into the rankings. Tom Aspinall will stop Curtis Blaydes in the third round to avenge his loss. And Belal Muhammad will finally become UFC champion at the age of 36, beating Leon Edwards, who I poked him, so that's something. But anywho, hope you enjoy this video, and if you have different opinions, please put in the comments below. Maybe I'm missing something, maybe I'm not giving someone enough credit. But besides that, hope you enjoy this video, and I'll catch you in the next one.
Big Daddy Bo got rocks. Does he know he's hurting? Look at him. That back foot went. It completely shivered. Did you see that, Tom? You gotta like what you're seeing as we reach the halfway point of this round. He takes a step back.